Hello, and welcome back to another episode of International Immersion, a podcast that seeks to capture the combined experiences of people, culture, places, traveling, current events, living abroad, and everything that comes along with them. For tonight's episode, I have a very special guest covering a very interesting and at the same time alarming topic that is transpiring in the world right now. So for tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about what's going on in Myanmar since the military coup back on February 1st. And I have an old colleague from my time in graduate school who's from Myanmar, and I'm going to sit down with him tonight, and he's going to give a firsthand account of what is going on there. So it's great to have you here tonight. I've been worried about you, thinking about you, and I think it's wonderful to have this opportunity to share your firsthand experiences of what's going on there and all the factors that are unfolding, which I've only seen via media, but just from what I've seen is very alarming, to say the least.
Thank you very much, my wonderful friends, for having me, particularly in this very turbulent and very dangerous time. And it's a great opportunity for me to speak about my country, what is going on, and really appreciate for inviting me.
Oh, you're most certainly welcome. And, what we hear in the news and what we see, it's alarming, it's frightening, it's, a whole host of words come to mind when I see it, but there's really nothing that compares to actually hearing it from someone who's living in it and amongst it. I mean, there's just no comparison in my opinion. So to begin with, maybe you can give us a little background about Myanmar, the country, for our viewers, and to allow them to have a little bit of a backdrop to prior to this event unfolding this year.
Yes, as you said, currently what happened in Myanmar is very tragic, and there's no how to compare how this military committed, crimes against humanity. So Myanmar is a population of 55 million, and it's one of the members of Southeast Asian nation. And we got independent in 1948. And after that, and we got pretty much very wealthy nations because we practice democracy. We believe in federal democracy. But in 1962, and again in 1988, the military took over power, the office, and everything turned into chaos. Myanmar is one of the least developed country in the entire world, and Myanmar has the second longest civil war. And even now, just recently, we had this Rohingya crisis as well. So Myanmar is a terrible, terrible multi-crisis. Now, again, with the COVID and everything, now they took the office by force, taking coup, and this is just utterly, they are so evil. I say it, and they are just terrorist organization.
I can't imagine for a country to be at civil war for that long, and also the Rohingya crisis in previous years, which I had, which I'd followed on the news. It's very tragic, and the fact that Myanmar, from what I've learned about it, it's a very rich country. It's beautiful, and it's there's so many great elements to it, but for it to suffer through decades and decades of these problems, it's very sorrowing to see.
Yes, it is. Yes. And also, I would like to mention that Myanmar is exactly right between two powerful nations. They are China and India as well. So one, we get very democratic nation. The other, we got very authoritarian state.
No, and I can certainly see how that would create a whole host of issues, both positive and negative, for the country, being in a way kind of in a kind of a buffer zone between India and China, and but with Myanmar having its own own sense of itself, but kind of having these two very influential powers on bordering it to the northeast and into the west. So that definitely I'm sure has contributed to a lot of geopolitical challenges and opportunities for the country in the last 50 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving us a little information about Myanmar and some of the events that have happened to it. So, kind of set the record. So we all know that the military coup happened on February 1st, but can you maybe give us a little bit of background leading up to the coup and why you think it happened?
So in 2020, we got a general elections, and after that, what happened is that in accordance with the 2008 Constitution, the military hold 25% of the parliament seats, right? In order to form a government, what they need is 20% only. So, but the last election, November, and with the surprise that the Nobel Peace Prize winner, those who led party, has won tremendous, right, a landslide victory. So it was really a big blow for them. So the military backup party accused the NLD party that the election was a fraudulent. And what happened is that was their main reason, but without valid and critical evidence. They have claimed it, they had accused of it. And for us, it's just a shocking news that on February 1st, on the very early morning before we wake up, right, at even 4, they just seized the coup in power. That was in because we were about to start that parliamentary opening. But unfortunately, before that, they just detained all this elected government officials and leaders.
Yeah, I know that from the news and from following the situation. I know the foreign observers and even I think the committee that covered the election in Myanmar even refuted that there was no fraud or no evidence of any fraud. And that has been something that's been pretty much substantiated by up until now, at least.
Yes.
That I can't imagine what it'd be like to go to bed one night, everything seems to be normal, and you wake up and then all of a sudden you're like, what is going on? And then seeing everything that transpired, it's one thing, like I said, to see that on the news, but to actually be there and observe it with your own eyes is totally different. And I can't imagine how frightening it must have been for you and your family.
It is, and I really want to highlight the fact that on the early morning, what happens is our communication channel, everything. I cannot call to my friends, and I cannot use the internet. Everything, our communication channel, everything has been shut off. We are completely disconnected within ourselves and outside of Myanmar. So what we got is only the military-run TV channel called Myanmar. We can learn, and then we learn what is really going on in Myanmar and certainly around the world. So that's just we were shocked and we were scared, and within a second we really don't know what to do. Should we have to run and hide or what? So everything is just chaos, and this is totally scandal for us.
No, and especially because I know that for the last 5 years, the situation in Myanmar has been pretty stable, and there's been a lot of progress that was made, or at least that's what was seen looking into Myanmar from the outside. But I know for a lot of people, they are definitely seeing this as a huge regression.
Yes,
and the current events definitely speak to that, and that leads us into the next point of our conversation this evening, and that is, of course, what we everyone has seen on the news, what the people's response has been and the protests. So maybe you could give us a little background, on at least from what you observed, how that started and how it's developed.
Yes, as I mentioned, this is not the very first time. In 1962, we used to say that our grandfather failed. In 1988, our father's generation have failed. Now our generation, what we call Generation Z, have to lead the protest, and it has taken the street. So, they have know that, protesting and defiance against the military is dead end, right? But the Generation Z, I have seen it. They are not interested in politics at all. What they know, they just want to play a game. They just want to be hanging around. But now suddenly all their communication channel has been lost. All their freedom, everything has lost. Now we, the generation, young leaders, are very angry, and we don't want to leave this. We don't accept it. We're just very angry. We want to abolish. So everyone, literally every generation has come out and has taken the street. I myself joining this demonstration every day, I see young people, even we got generation alphas as well, those who are 7 or 8, they just come with scooters. So we against it. Not only that, now they're shooting us, and I myself have seen with my own eye, my comrade, just 19 years old, has shot in his head, but it can't stop us, because you know what, even the COVID, because the world is handling this COVID. For us, COVID is just nothing compared to our coup. So we against it. Now we have already paid tremendous prices. Our friends just lost, you know, we lost our family and we lost everything. So we come back off, we won't stop, because there's nothing that we have to lose. We lose everything. So we are continuing fighting, and we will fight now. And every day it's a protest for us, and they couldn't stop shooting us, but we both sides, we that's this 100%, 110% for sure that we won't stop. And they must fail, and military dictatorship must fail. And in this kind of suffering shouldn't fear not only Myanmar, I think all around the world. Nobody should fail. Nobody should suffer like that. Nobody should experience like that.
I just can't imagine, and I can just tell from the emotion in your voice how traumatic this has been. And I think everyone faces traumatic times in their lives, but I don't think a lot of people can even fathom what this is like. Just hearing this is about to make myself burst into tears just hearing it from you. But I just am amazed by the resilience and the resolve of Generation Z, and even basically the people of the country coming together to reject what they don't want. It basically, at least from what you're telling me and from what I've seen on the news from multiple sources, it's just that the people are tired of the previous order. They want something new. They want to manifest, and they want the right for self-determination, the ability to, plan and prosecute and have a stake in their own futures.
Absolutely.
No, but I'm just amazed that, it started off peaceful protests, and then it's become, the crackdowns have gotten worse from what I've seen. They're resorting to more and more violent methods. And to see that, it's just like, okay, people are protesting peacefully. Why do you have to use such methods against peaceful protesters? They're not attacking things. They're not, they're not doing anything really out of the case. I mean, there's been some cases of that recently, but I think that's more of a result of pressure the protesters are facing. I mean, I'm not there, so I'm not going to say one way or the other, but that's just from my personal observations and from paying attention to the situation.
Yes. Can I say just one thing, that the way the military government, their tactics and how we responded first, they have, I would say, main two ways. First, inciting fear and divisions. When I say fear, they said, okay, when I shoot your friend, so you better stop there. So they because they really want to incite fear. But what happened? And the other thing is they want to divide us. For instance, as you clearly know that, with the Rohingya, and we know that the Burmese, the Buddhist majority and the versus Muslim, but now a lot of Muslim, Rohingya and Muslim, Christian, everybody come out and they're trying to divide us. But what happens? People are not only unbreakable, we are unstoppable as well. Because what we see is that it's not about Muslim or it's not about Buddhist, it's about our common enemy who has no humanity at all, who only know how to stay power, and in order to stay power, they're gonna kill everybody. They don't care about Burmese or Buddhist or Christian. So we are very united. The more they try to divide us, we have become very united. The more they try to incite fear, we become very resilient. We become very strong. That I would like to highlight.
No, and I'm very glad that you have, and that really says a lot right there. Because ethnic and religious divisions can cause a lot of problems, but for all those people to come together for one cause or for one purpose, that says a lot. I mean, that's very powerful in of itself. And that And that kind of leads into our next point, is that what you've mentioned it to an extent, but what is the military, and what are the military, or the authorities, as you can call them, what are they doing, outside of what we see on the news? But can you kind of give us maybe a breakdown of like what they're doing, or how it's escalating with what they're doing?
Yes, at first, what they're trying to do is that the NLD party, right? The Victory Party, they want to destroy it. So that's when they targeted all those. Of course, they detain all these elected government. At the same time, they're trying to arrest all the represented leader first. That time we came out, their target hasn't the protester yet. And the next time they're trying to arrest all those activists, all those influential figures. And the third one, what they're trying to do is that now they're targeting the protesters as well, because we are protesting pretty much, 2 weeks, right? And they just let us protest peacefully, and we still protesting peacefully as well. So after that, and the next target has become the peaceful protester. When they say peaceful protester, they shot the young people. So their parents, right? People got wounded. Their parents, no, you are not allowed to go on street like that. So because they're trying to fear inside to their parents, so that because they have already experienced 1988 as well, so they can't lose. Not only they already lose their children, they can't lose their friends and relatives. So they're gonna stop. But now they shoot everyone. Let's say now even one she's just a pregnant, right? But they kill and in a young guy who just volunteer and helping to get some medical treatment. Now they stop all the school, they stop all the hospital. I just want to another mention is that now we have a very strong movement, what we call a civil disobedience movement, right? So all those civil servants, we ask them to stop going in order to paralyze this military mechanism. So now they become a targeted groups as well, but people are still resisting against this military coup, and they stop going. Well, of course, there are a few people, right? Because because the military, they come and pick them up. If you stop going to the office, we're gonna shoot you. So some people, they are in that situation. Some people are still going, but majority, they stop going.
No, I think you highlighted very well. They, as with anything that's systematic, they targeted the people or the forces they thought were the most dangerous to the coup, and then they kind of worked their way down. And maybe what you're saying, it's like there were 2 weeks where people were protesting, they didn't do a lot. Maybe they're thinking, let the people just let out some anger and frustration, then they'll go home. And when they didn't, then they stepped up their tactics. And then, yes, like you said, they're what they're doing now. But I mean, I can't think of anything more horrible than to murder, than for a pregnant woman to be killed, or a young man or child to be killed. I mean, why? I mean, what does that solve? What does that do? I mean, that's horrific, and that's just that's a life lost and potential lost.
Yes.
And then kind of going off from that, especially in the last, I'd say 2 weeks, at least from watching the news, it seems like there's been a large escalation in violence.
It is. I can't even describe it, how they are cruel and all those innocent and very peace-loving people. This is just a threat for them. Expressing our voices is just a threat for them. This is just so cruel. I can't even describe. There's no word. In Myanmar, what we don't call them military coup. What we call is that, because in a Western term, right, dogs are so lovely and everybody love puppets. But in this, our Burmese term, when you say dog, I mean a stray dog, which is useless. We love dog, but in a term, we say we don't call them military. We call them because we believe the military are supposed to protect their own country, and it's protect to its own very people. So we don't call them military. They don't deserve it. So we call it dog. When I say dog in the two way that you just useless, you are just stray dog, you are good for nothing. So we don't mention them military. We just call them dog, and that's because we don't have no word to describe them.
No, I get what you're saying. Basically, that is a degrading term that
degrading term. Yes, exactly.
Because a military's function is to protect the state from foreign forces and sometimes domestic forces. But from seeing on the news, when the military or the police open fire at its own people who are not, acting in any violent way, that speaks a lot louder than any words. And that's just horrific in my opinion, because that's not what, armed forces of a country should be doing, at least, from what I understand and from what you're telling me.
Yes.
No, but God, that's so sad to hear. But I also know that recently they've implemented martial law in some places.
Yes. And before the martial law is imposed, we got what we call the curfew has been imposed as well. Once, I think after 1 week later on, they said the curfew has been imposed from between 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. because people are not only protesting in the daytime, they're also protesting at night times as well. Right from the very beginning, we bang pots and pans. And what does it mean is that in a Burmese way, it means we are against all those demon spirits. So that's how we perceive it. So every night we still every 8 p.m. every family, every people, every household, they bang pots and pans. That's in a traditional way of casting the demon and destroying all the evil spirit.
Wow, that's some deep symbolism right there, emphasized.
Yes.
And if you don't mind me asking, being part of the protest, what is it like being on the street?
At first, I think pretty much on the very first week, people are very innovative. When I say innovative, mean so people are very united. For instance, okay, next day, what kind of message that we would like to show, and everybody. For instance, when the Indonesian foreign prime minister, because she tried to meet the military. Commander-in-chief in Naypyidaw, the next day, I myself, everyone came out to the street and we against this. And the next day, the Jakarta, Indonesia foreign prime minister stopped coming to the Myanmar, because that means it gives signal that they somehow acknowledge this military coup as interim government. So what does it mean? It means speaking out our voices. It's just a tremendous voices for us. It's a tremendous, opportunity for us, because once we are controlled by the military, you know what? Even saying a joke will be a punishable thing for them. So now it means a lot, and people are very innovative, people are very brave, and it's exactly how we the people are exercising our rights as well. So it means a lot. And that by protesting on the street, that you are risking your own lives as well. So at night, some people now they're running away. They are very scared to sleep at their home, because at night they might come and arrest those who join at the demonstration. In fact, my friends, he shared his experience because he was arrested. Now he's released, thank God. And everybody will be asked the same question. They ask, have you joined the protest? Have you joined the demonstration? So and then the level of punishment will be severe if you say yes, and have you shared anything on the Facebook like that? So they are, on the one hand, they are extreme dangerous situation. What lies ahead, but on the other hand, that couldn't stop us. We are very united. We are very innovative, and we were gonna risk our own life, and then we will continue protest against this military coup.
I mean, you're describing a complete climate of fear because, I mean, just from what you're saying, that means they don't want any information coming out. That's basically what I infer from what you're telling me. And that's that would explain, I think, why they're cutting the internet. They're trying to, at least from what's being told, is they're trying to limit the ability of people to communicate.
You are absolutely correct. I think that's my be next point, that now we get only access to the Wi-Fi internet only, because usually when we even that night, right, when my comrade get shot in his head, I record everything and people can share live streams as well, so we know that what's going on, so we know that how we can prepare. We know that, let's say in some township, if the police come and arrest us, so in our township, how we can help, how we can prepare, how we can prevent the police from coming and going. So but now, since we don't know exactly what's going on the ground, at the same time, the military coup, they don't want the international community know what is exactly going on in Myanmar. Not only that, they arrest all those journalists as well. Just yesterday, a journalist from BBC Burmese and local media, they arrest us as well.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, if you're any entity, organization that's doing things that can be construed as bad or whatever, they don't want outside voices or outside, eyes on them. So that's a very textbook case. So they're trying to basically cover up what's going on, from, without saying that that's what's going on. But that's basically what it sounds like they're doing.
Yeah, but at the same time, I just want to let you know another thing is that, yes, this is how they cut off. So what we do, the ground protester for us is that the next day we bought a walkie-talkie. Now we have a walkie-talkie, and now we have that walkie-talkie group in our social medias as well. So in that way, at least we protect ourselves. At least, that's why we can still go out to the street and protect. Hey, the police hasn't come in yet. At least we can connect it and we can defend ourselves as well. At the same time, we can, speak out our voices. If they do the other way, then we have some ways to find out how we can really still voice our out loud.
And that's a great example of adaptation. Adapting to the situation and finding ways around restrictions and being and facing the internet outages, only relying on Wi-Fi. Yeah, walkie-talkies, reverting to other forms of communication and things like that. So that's great. I'm really glad to hear that that's being done, and people are still finding ways to demonstrate their will. But
yes.
but and kind of going back to that, I just given what I've seen, just just from watching the news, as I've said a million times before, but I'll keep saying it again, I just can't imagine being in a crowd protesting and then literally the police show up and open fire. I mean, I can't imagine what that's like. And you saying yourself, you witnessed someone being shot next to you. I can't imagine that, and I don't even want to think about it. I mean, it makes me start to, it makes me want to weep.
You know what we scare most is sniper man, right? I mean, because when you see the police, right, we can run because we can see clearly that police are coming. At least we know how to run. Then now we get the Coca-Cola Cola, we get fire extinguisher. That's how we bring all those equipment so that we have a time at least to run away, right? But what we can escape is from sniper man. All those people who got shot is because the sniper man, they shot us. So we can't really protect for that one. That is so scary. For the police, sometimes we are very dead. We even, confront this police. We even say that you are people police. Please don't shoot us. We can say it because we can see it. At least we can communicate, right? At least with your own eye, please, please. But with sniper man, that's why we get scope. front our defense team, so they just have to look around whether is there any sniper bomb or like that. So I just want to telling you what is exactly going on in the ground as well.
I mean, that's one thing that there have been some accusations made of that, but for you to say that they're actively sniping people out of crowds,
yes,
that
yes,
good Lord, that I mean, like you said, it's one thing. The police are in front of you. You can communicate. You can do all those things, but
yes,
you can't do anything with someone you can't see. And
yes,
I can't imagine the fear, in people's minds, just walking around and thinking, oh, maybe, okay, we're doing this, but all of a sudden you don't know if someone's gonna, if a shot's gonna be taken at any person. No one's safe. God, that
yes,
I can't imagine the fear.
yes.
But I'm just I'm just amazed by the people, by the Burmese people, or their resolve, their dedication, and their willingness to show what they want. And that is very commendable, and it's amazing to see. Regardless of all the human carnage, you could say, and loss of life. And kind of moving up, and that brings into like the international community's response, because I know that very recently Myanmar's representative to the United Nations, he gave a speech about what's going on, and I think he's been fired now, and he's also been charged with treason by the new government. So I mean, maybe if you want, we can kind of get your 2 cents on what you think of the international community's response right now.
Yes, I think, thank you very much for mentioning that one. And Ujo Motun, because he might seen as the treason by the military government, but for the entire people, 55 million had seen it as a hero, because who can speak out the right things, right, in a right way, in a very right time. So he is our hero, and everybody applauds for that because he did the right thing. And the second thing I will mention is that we, the people of Myanmar, has always seen the United States as the champion of democracy and human rights. So what happened on February 1st, this is the early morning, but it is exactly at the midnight in White House. But this release, even at the midnight, they released a statement and condemned the military regime. That's how we see in the United States. And I'm always grateful to the United States for leading this movement. At the same time, certainly a country from UK and all those free world, they come together and they united, and they really condemned this military coup. And I'm really grateful for that. And the next day, what happened is that a lot of people, they just printed out President Biden picture and Vinay, and they say that thank you, Mr. President, and please continue to support us. Thousands of people get out right in front of U.S. Embassy. So it's very sad to say that. I mean, China is very powerful. China has a tremendous influence on Myanmar military. But what they said in the United Nations Security Council is, it's very saddening. And I myself study in China, so I'm just very sad to see that. They just say that this not only they don't condemn this military coup, they said this is just internet affair. So they and the next day we come together and we said, please support the people of Myanmar. I know that China has a huge interest because they have the One Belt One Road, and Myanmar is one of the plans as well. We said, please don't support military coup, but support us. Supports us. When you say internet affair, right? If you want to have the economic development, it is impossible without the political stabilities as well. So if you support the people of Myanmar, that will be huge benefit for the China and certainly for all the other international communities as well. So what I would like to highlight is that those who stand with the people of Myanmar, we are extremely glad, and it's really give us hope. Right, even though we're disconnected, we still hope, we know that they are there for us. But when when our friends are dying, and you just sit and relax and see that this is the internet affair, that is something we are very sad. And I'm really hope that China had changed its mind, and China really help the people of Myanmar and respect the will of the Myanmar, because we have voted. because our scale of vote has been validated. That's why China should respect the people of Myanmar. And when you respect the people of Myanmar, you will gain a huge benefit from us.
No, I hear what you're saying, and yeah, I think it's it's like there's a fine line between intervention, what form it should take, and what what the world should do with different situations. But clearly, what's happening is not good, to put very simply. And I'm really happy to hear that people are appreciative for what a lot of countries, including the United States, are doing. At least in the on social channels and diplomatic channels. But that kind of leads into the next point is, what do you think would be some things that you would like to see the international community do more, maybe?
And I'm very sad to hear that just yesterday, 40 senator, I think from the Republican Party, had decided not to condemn the military coups as well. So I really think that they should really support the people of Myanmar, and they should change your position, or they should change their position, because they really, I believe that whether you are Republican or Democrat, I believe that you are a big believer of the principle of democracy and human rights. So please stand with us. That's the one thing that I would like to give message to those 14 senators from the Republican Party. And the other thing is that what happened in Myanmar, it's very serious. So we must do in an urgent manner. When it is too late, when millions of people, even 1,000 now, I think the death rate is over nearly 300 now, and thousands of people are in prison, and many people are missing, and some of my friends, they even flee the other country. So I decided to stay here, and I decided to be with the people, with the suffering people. And also this is what happened in Myanmar. So if the international community, I would like to say the regional community first, if you just sit, relax, and do nothing and see watches, I think there will be a spillover effect, or the grieving consequences you will suffer as well. I mean, millions of workers, immigrant workers are in Thailand, and thousands of people, they are already take refuge in Malaysia. So, and that the Bangladesh as well, there are thousands of Rohingya people are there. So it is not only, because this is not an internet affair, I would say it's about human life. It's about between life and death. So please help us, and we don't deserve it. So please keep pressure on China, and also I would like to highlight the US and all those UK and all and that I fight, right? You get Canada, US, right, and Australia, and I think the other Western country. Because what I see is that I'm really glad that the Joe Biden did send a very targeted sanction. That is not a blanket session, which is really good and very wise good things to do first. Second is that those who link with the military, which they should target them as well. For instance, military, government, their children, you know what? They don't give up the democracy, but they really send their children to the democratic country. They don't want us to be educated, but they send their children, their grandchildren to be educated in Western countries like United States, UK and Australia. They just pretty much enjoy all those freedom. So please, all the government who got the authority to do so, please restrict their visa, please, so that it will affect them, so it will stop, going and enjoying all those freedom that the free world has been generally given to them. For this movement, for the time being, please restrict your visas as well, so that they know that they have, because usually the G2G is they are very immune and they don't even care about it. But we already believe that a grandchildren can change a grandpa's mindset. So they please do this one as well. When you can, when the direct sanctions very good, direct pressure is very good. At the same time, indirect pressure and indirect movement is very effective as well, that I would say. And the other thing is that we know, you know that I know that, right? When United States, lead the supreme power, we had the world order, right? So, but now China has rising up, and we China's rising up, and we have to see how they treat their own citizens as well. So I really think United States should keep pressure China as well, so that because it seems like the China is pretty much, sit back and relax and see what's going on in Myanmar as well. And please work with my message to United States is that please work with your allies and keep pressure on Myanmar as well. And for people to people, if you got friends in Myanmar, please say them hi, or just keep telling them that we are with you and we'll support you. That means a lot, and because we are keep encouraging each other, inspiring each other, but sometimes we always need encouragement as well. So what you are currently doing is just, for me, is very not only comforting, it's very encouraging as well. Just telling about Myanmar, it's really somehow, mentally, I have so much stress, right? Because in Myanmar, if I tell my friend, he only what's going on in Myanmar, he's very stressful as well. So telling my friends, some people who are in foreign country, by telling them, it's really a big relief us as well. At least we felt that our voices has been heard, right? And we are not alone, right? Even though you guys are not physically with us, we know that you are with us in spirit, because you see the share similarity and the common identity and share humanity, right? At the end, we all are the same at human level, right? So we all want the basic human right, right? The basic human right is the right to live. Now, whereas the right to live, not leave. So now they just take our basic human rights, and that shouldn't happen. And please continue to support us. And I know that United Nations, all the other, they are doing as they can. And please, before it is not too late, and I really want to see some action, so that will stop the military coup from shooting its own very people.
I definitely would say, I can tell you're speaking your heart, and you're being very sincere and just direct about the situation. And I think one thing that I think everyone should know is that it's one thing to see something on the news, regardless of where you are and where it's happening. But if you know someone in that country and you talk to them like we're talking now, it registers entirely different. It's not just a news story on the news. Oh, that's so sad, but it doesn't affect me. But if you know someone there, it hits much closer to home, and you realize that, like you said, we're all people. We all strive in the same things, and want to make a better world and life for our children and their children, so on and so forth. So, it's just so sorry to hear what you're going through, and I'm very hopeful that there will be more done to help you and your fellow countrymen in Myanmar. And it's just, I know politically speaking, there's a lot going on, and it's very, convoluted with the current geopolitical environment and everything. But I completely agree with you, is that, people should know what's going on in Myanmar. They should understand what you and your fellow people are facing and what you're suffering through. And, I'm just very happy that I could have this podcast episode with you and let you speak your mind and let you speak from that experiences and the traumas that you've been facing in the last nearly 2 months now. Yeah. And that brings us to my last question for you is, I know we can't predict the future, what will happen, but do you have an idea, or, what do you think is going to happen in the next few months?
That's question we have been asking the same thing for every day and talk with every day. But I always right from the very beginning, I answered this the same, and I give the same answer, and still that is the same answers. you know what? Nobody predict what could happen, right? Nobody know what's going to happen. Nobody know what's the military coup plan. But I always say that, what are we doing, right? What are we doing? It will define the results as well. Because at the end of the day, it will really depend on us. I said the international community, I said the health and support fund, international community, everything, because they are doing what they can. I generally believe that, but at the same time, we must create our own destiny as well. We don't want to lose. So what's we gonna do next? Yes, we already lost our friends. What next? Are we gonna surrender? No, that's not the answer. So what are we doing? It's huge. It will be hugely depend on what the results will be. So we are doing what we can. That's why I already mentioned that some people, they fleeing the other country because they have their own reason. They have to protect their family and they have to protect everything, lots of reason. So those who can say, Myanmar, what are we doing now? Are we still protesting on the street while we can? So it will really depend on us. That is the general public. The second thing is that the CDM movement, right? We are what we call, we are the soft power, because that's we have. And the hard power is the CDM, civil society movement, right? So those who join the civil the disobedient movement, the civil servant must be very strong as well. We call, yes, civil disobedient movement. They are the hard power. So hard power must be strong as well. Please stop going to office or working for the military regime, because it will paralyze them. It will dysfunction them. So that's why, as long as we get the soft power, general people are strong, as long as we have the hard powers are strong. The other very important is now what we call is CRPH, right? CRPH is it's because in 2020 election, they are elected by the people, right? But since the military coup, took the office, so they created their own interim governments as well. So all those 55 million support them. So if they make a clear and wide, strategic, timely plan, as long as they say that, okay, you can protect, you can do, because people are listening to them, people pay 110% attention to them as well. So when these three groups come together, united together, and keep doing what their own duty, I genuinely believe that we will win. Because now that's why their target is now they're trying to weaken this one group, right? They're trying to arrest all those people, and after that they're trying to arrest the CDM movement, the civil disobedient movement, joining all those civil servants. And the third, this one, the interim government, has people support there. So these three group must work together and must unite together. And if we are doing what we can, I believe nothing can stop us, and not because we are not only unstoppable, we are unbreakable, and we must win. I really, I don't want to say lose, but we must win, and democracy must prevail against dictatorship, and humanity must win over cruelty. So yeah, that's I would say, and let's do what we can and with what we have, right? I mean, President Yodospat said, right? I mean, do what you can and do what you have and do where you are, and let's do it. And we believe in doing right, so let's do it.
I just want to say, I really appreciate you taking the time to go into depth on these things, and I completely agree. I think that the people's will, and the people of a country, if they're united and they have one goal, optimistically, I think that they will succeed. And I hope that the people of Myanmar achieve what they want, to allow them to have a better future and to be able to set their own course as a people and a country from the past. And not me not being from there, I can't go too much further, but I'm just saying just from looking from the outside, that's my hope as a human being, and just wanting what's best for my fellow man and woman. That's my goal. But I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing, a firsthand account of what's going on and everything that you've experienced and people you know. And it's just, again, unimaginable what is going on, and hearing it from you, it's very powerful. And honest to God, it's almost a little overpowering for me just hearing it. But, I'm happy to give you this opportunity to talk about it and just to share your personal experiences. So, but first and foremost, I want you to stay safe, take care of yourself. I'm really happy that, you can provide this very, very amazing yet horrifying account of what's going on to our viewers. And I think it will really open a lot of people's eyes who, don't have a friend there like you, and bring it to a more personal and relatable level. Because, people at the end of the day, we all want to say things we love and say things we like. So that's just my 2 cents on it. But I just wanted to thank you so much. It's great to see you again. I'm happy that you're safe. And first and foremost, continue to stay safe. I hope your family stays safe. And, my thoughts and prayers are with you and everyone there. And, just stay in contact, and, we'd be happy to hear from you again with more information. So, but I just want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for doing this tonight.
I also want to say the last one is that people don't have real power without the people's support. What you have merely an office. You don't have real power without the people's support. What you have is just position. What you have is just merely an office. So please give up the military coup. And also thank you to you. And I feel now released, relaxed, and at least know that and happy that people are generally interested in arts and concerned about arts, and know they are supporting us, and you're praying for us, and I'm deeply appreciated. And that's what friends are for. And I'm very glad that I have friends like you who really are supporting and doing the right thing and doing what you can. I'm massively appreciate. And when I come to the United States, I will come and say thank you to you in person.
That'd be wonderful. I'd love to have you in the U.S. and take you to see some cool places and have some great food in my part of the U.S. So I'd love to do that. And in the future, I'd always be completely open to the idea of coming and visiting Myanmar, because I love to travel, as everyone knows. That's one reason why I've created this podcast, one of many reasons. But I think the more places we go, the more people we meet, and ideas and other aspects that we're exposed to, the more we can relate and help each other on a global scale. Again, we just wanted to thank you for tuning in to another episode of International Immersion. This episode is very interesting, full of heartache, but also hope at the same time. And the goal of this podcast, as mentioned, is to connect people. And with that being said, we would always be interested in people's stories or other events that are happening around the world. And please feel free to contact us at internationalimmersionpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll happily get back to you. At the end of the day, we hope the situation in Myanmar will improve, and that the people there will be able to pursue their own interest and prosecute their lives in the way they want. So we really appreciate you tuning in for this episode of International Immersion, and we'll see you on the next one.